Welcome to my survival guide series. Now that Europe is gonna go be doomed into the purge, it's fighting a lot of this sort of stuff. J.K. Rowling, guys. Hate speech. UK is going into a turmoil. Nobody knows how to survive in UK. You don't survive in UK, just run. Obviously, because you're being cooked. Just try to make friends, because I have no one who cried about their living conditions being poor. I just see that on TikTok, that's still just a viral sensation. No one's desperate enough. But eventually they will be, and the purge is gonna break out. But there's a general survival tactic in Europe that's probably gonna work in any situation if you just amplify the power level of it, or you just become aware of it. And it might actually heal me. We're gonna talk about healing, wounds, healing your mindset. Obviously, avoiding negativity is very important as well, not to get sucked into fucking garbage. Because negativity, sometimes you have to think about it like Russian propaganda. Russia might be losing the war, but they're winning the propaganda, of getting attention, pissing everyone off. That's what they're winning. But they can't keep this up for too long because they will be eaten alive by their own fucking agenda. And eventually Russia is gonna, let go of this narrative and we're gonna go into the purge of Europe. That's the fucking timeline we're talking about. There's a apocalyptic wave going on in the world, and I can see it. And if people don't see it, that's fine, because I don't have that many subscribers, unfortunately. I don't have that much trust from the people, so I'm just gonna be talking to myself and helping myself survive in this environment. And one thing is very certain. We're gonna be talking about breathing and stretching. In this sort of context, normally this would be a gold video. Like, doing these things is gold standard. If you do it, it's gonna provide you a lot of value. But right now, I'm trying to survive here. I'm still trying to survive. This is not a gold that I can just slightly talk about of like, this is a very good thing. No, I really have to hold on to this as a survival tactic. As I remember, I made these first two episodes as intense as I can possibly squeeze myself to make them. I want people to feel that this topic is extremely serious, and we're talking about now human lives and human behavior that drags you into the grave if you surrender to the forces of death and destruction which are happening. But the only thing, again, it's still a consensual thing. You consent to going towards death and destruction. That's required to finish you off, basically, after all. So the death will always ask you of like, do you really want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to choose this thing over the other thing? You want to do this? Go this way? Put that in your brain? Death is always going to ask you those questions to get as much consent out of you as possible so they can end you off. Even consenting to like a hunger strike is playing with death. It's not something you should just do, without a good reason. And that's what's standing between this episode and this episode, alright? Episode number 2 and 3 is sandwiching a hunger strike. It's not something you should do. I would not recommend it to anyone. I just wanted to feel pain against special someone that represents a huge problem in Europe. Obviously, it's just in Europe, not only we have assholes, but, they create an infestation of fake workers who just have a job, but they don't actually do any work. They're fake. They're supposed to be helpful, but they're not helpful at all. They're just very good at pretending that they're helping you by doing certain things a certain way. police, doctors. I trust nobody in this fucking place. Holy shit. You think they're real jobs? Well, they have to actually perform real things, real solutions to the problems. If they want to be called real, they have to be trusted first and foremost. And it's very difficult to do that when you don't have proper training. These people are assholes because they don't have proper training and they don't acknowledge that whatsoever, and they have no ability to acknowledge that because they're now assholes. They have decided that they have trained themselves enough. There's nothing new that they can possibly learn and do. And that's when you become an asshole. You think you're better than other people. You have to have an open mind pretty much all the time, because you never know who you're fucking talking to. The only indication you have is a little bit of age. But even then, it's up in the air of who the fuck you're talking to. And who you're dealing with. What are your neighbors? Who are they? Right? What are the people outside? Who are your friends? All these definitions keep on changing, but based on the criteria that we have discussed on part 2. The asshole criteria. The moment someone becomes an asshole, they're gone. They have to reappear in your life. Otherwise, they're useless. They're wasting your fucking time. And you try to avoid them as best as you can. That's your job, basically. Avoiding assholes. They ruin your life. They constantly, again, consent you to more death, more deadly things, take things away from you, and say that it's a good thing for you. That's what assholes want to do. They pretend, they fool themselves. They don't think with their head anymore. They just fart with their head. But we have to dig deeper and find a solution, find a more uplifting episodes to talk about an actual solution that I found, which is very deep all the time. So what is stretching and breathing actually means? You know, what does it mean? How is it such a fucking powerful solution that requires an entire survival episode to talk about? And it's an emergency episode. I have to pump this shit out as soon as possible. So I have a full spectrum analysis of the subject. Breathing can look like this. You release all this information and start a new slate. Technically erasing, starting from nothing. But it's a little bit different. And also, stretching and breathing are interconnected because you're stretching your lungs and releasing them all the time, right? There's no pressure here. It's just a center point collapses onto itself. So it's a little bit different sort of motion. And this is something you need to know as a European, that you're constantly collapsing. You are constantly collapsing. You're constantly angry and upset, and you emotionally cannot express yourself to enough people to be able to not collapse. You have all this negative energy, but simply because you're not stretching yourself back up to high esteem, high confidence, all that shit, right? You can collapse into constant just depression. That's where it comes from, right? I used to breathe in an unnatural way by making videos, by just vomiting out all the emotions, all the juice, so I can continue collapsing onto myself. I'm sort of like comfortable with it. I have the earth personality too, so I kind of don't take that much damage by collapsing, by making myself simplifying. I almost like the process because it's kind of like programming. If I become smarter, I can collapse myself and nothing will change, right? I can be smaller as a human being, but if I am very well defined, I can, reestablish myself, size myself back up, or just stay like that, because now it's very difficult for me to get crushed, for me to get damaged. So personally, I wouldn't say it's unfortunate, but I was able to just accept the gravity, the collapse of myself without needing to stretch or breathe. But at the same time, maybe it's about time to stretch and breathe. Maybe it's about time to resist the stupidity that's around me and breathe in a little bit of confidence, because that's what happens. Your mind gets cleared up just so you can do your thing, all right? Just so you could focus. That's what breathing allows you to do, focus. But you'll be forgetting something. If you want to focus, you have to forget the outside noise, right? Eliminate that. Another way to look at it is to look at the flat earth example of this is heaven and this is earth. Technically, you can do it on round earth, but I will still call you stupid. And every time you take breath, you have more air. You have more of that material that, is up in the air. You have breathed some lighter material that makes you lighter. So you're technically getting closer to heaven. Closer to flying around by breathing alone. This does not happen physically, but this definitely happens in terms of feelings. This is how you will feel. The more you breathe, the more things get eliminated in your brain, just the more you are elevated. And often enough, if you're in a dark place and you want to escape that fucking negativity and nonsense, you have to start meditating with this deep breathing tactic. It's a pretty good way to empower yourself if you're living in a thing called prison. All these tiny countries, they operate on their own language. It's very tight space for a culture to exist. Makes us less social and more like survivalistic, more needy. So a lot of people don't tune into my videos because they don't need to. They feel like, oh, you speak English, so I don't need to tune in because you don't speak my language. They have their excuses. But that's all there is, just an excuse to ignore me. To put more pressure of natural pressure of my requirement to survive is more difficult because I don't have as many friends, don't have as many people to trust with and talk about things, and talk about solutions and implementing solutions, like real things that I could actually test and learn from faster. But they don't need that, the assholes don't need that for some reason. They simply can't elevate themselves into that level. So one thing, by learning how to breathe, you're more likely to go from an NPC to a fucking reasonable person. And you are more likely to sustain a reasonable existence. Or you can do the opposite and be a consumer. You can buy things, you can go out, meet new people who don't care about you, and continue your NPC tasks. Which way do you go? Have you finished your NPC training or not? Now, for me, I want this for healing purposes because even my teeth got crushed into each other. The same principle applied on my goddamn face. Everything got crushed. My back also is crushing itself into a ball. I'm just being crushed into a ball and everything just fucking getting crushed. And that is no longer acceptable. I have enough awareness to try and resist this force. And there's this infamous buck teeth from British place. And all these teeth problems, most of them are just because teeth are crushing into each other. You can see what happens. All kinds of shit happens. Your teeth might be stronger, your teeth might be weaker, they crush into each other different ways, but it's just the same fucking thing. Because there's the thing called wisdom teeth. Something that Americans try to take out because they don't care about wisdom. But yeah, your teeth get crushed naturally for a reason, so they stay in shape. But sometimes that force is a little bit too fucking hardcore, and you lose because you never smiled. You know, you never stretched your fucking muscles of your mouth. That's the whole fucking point of breathing and stretching, is to resist the sort of natural force of life crushing you and making you like do less things in less space, and you feel so much pressure to just stay in one space. But I accept it. I don't care that much. You know, I'm just more fine-tuned and more efficient that way. If I'm smaller as a human being, I can just move around and relocate myself very quickly without a big problem. You know, I'm just a dude with a backpack, with a computer in my backpack. That's it. And even that is questionable, to be honest. So again, for me, I just kind of like accepted the nature of crushing things, and I never try to resist it, but my body needs to resist it. I have to train my body to resist it, and who knows how many things I will discover by doing this. So, before I dive into deeper insights, I just have to live my life a little bit, alright? But yeah, this also includes potentially eyesight as well. You have to stretch your eyesight. You have to look into further distant objects to be able to readjust your eyes and all that shit. This is a lot of work. This fucking stretching thing. You have to dedicate a portion of your life, but like it feels like I need it. It's a very necessary part of growth right now for me. And especially stretching in programming terms and the logical terms, what happens, you create little gaps, and they have to naturally heal themselves. And you create those weak spots that kind of break out, and your body finds places that need to heal. Naturally, by stretching, you find places that need to heal. You find the weak spots. That is amazing, right? And that's potentially what happens with your lungs. By allowing air to come in, you also find weak spots, but micro spots that also get to be flooded with, you know, pressure that breaks all the bonds, moves things around, everything regenerates more the more you breathe, something like that. Because breathing is stretching in some sense, right? Yes, my friends, we're deep into the matrix. So that, you need good ventilation. When you focus on nothing, you become more calm. This is more of a meditative state, right? Calmness is focus into nothing and just whatever happens. Whatever's going on around you, whatever you're feeling, that's the calm state. Calm state can occur when you're focusing on something successfully as well, right? On one thing successfully. The most important thing is to try and eliminate all the tics, all the things that you want to do, but it's more like scratching and fucking moving around and tapping your feet and all that shit. You might want to eliminate that. You have to question it at very least if it's beneficial, or should you just do it at some other point, you know, or is there a way to eliminate it entirely and not worry about it anymore? Because, you know, I have an ingrown nail, and that sucks in my attention tremendously, but it's more like an experiment, which just turned into a horror fucking movie because it just doesn't go away. The only way it can only go away is if I ignore it, if I just pretend, well, it's not there. Fuck that shit. whatever. And it sort of goes away. I mean, it's not a problem that I have to attend to over and over again, and potentially would just go away if I just let the fucking nail grow through the damn thing. I don't know. I tried it once, but it's a fucking tough challenge. It's definitely a fucking Mr. Beast challenge right there. One year with an ingrown nail and stuff like that. They went away somehow miraculously. And you can Google, but it's just like fucking, you have a toe and there's this shit grown on top of your nail. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the worst part is that there's this fucking part where your nail doesn't go through that. It has to grow and it has to fucking chew through that part. And potentially once my nail does that, we're through. We have stretched our nail through the fucking damaged piece of, skin or whatever. And it will potentially heal and go back to normal. Because we just went fucking sliced through. Some other times it miraculously goes away, but I don't know what the best solution is. For now, the best solution is to ignore it because I have no idea how to heal that shit. But as you can tell, we're looking at human health in general, in a very broad view, in the wind element sort of view, where wind element just keeps you healthy somehow. Just by breathing and stretching, you're gonna keep yourself healthy. More than anything ever could keep you healthy. Because when I go to a doctor, I want them to tell me those two things. If they don't tell me those two things, they're fucking assholes. They're losers. They're wasting my time, right? If I had to invent that and tell this to myself, we're screwed, bro. We don't have real doctors no more. This is fucked up. So another thing we have invented is stay calm, basically. And from this alchemical fucking concoction, we're gonna find so many more things because, again, we're talking about health in general. Like, this is a huge topic that everyone needs to know. Like, how do you become healthy? What's the number one thing? It's not even exercise, by the way. Not even exercise. But technically is. But it's stretching. It's different than fucking building muscle. Than putting pressure on yourself. Unnecessary pressure, by the way. You will put pressure on yourself when you need to put pressure on yourself. In that moment. You will build resistance in that moment. You will attack the problem. Tackle the problem in that moment. You will have just enough fucking power to do it. Trust me on that one. You don't have to be prepared fucking a mountain of muscle to tackle a fucking bear. I'm sorry, bro. And the more problems you solve, you might be able to tackle something bigger and bigger each time, and you might want to do it. But you have to actually do it. You can't just go to the gym and find the final boss there. Gym does not contain life in there. Gym just contains tools to fucking torture yourself, basically, every single day. I go against gym instantaneously, bro, if someone asks. And I go against many other things that I've talked about. Again, we spit on doctors and police already. With the first few sentences I spit out, bro. So you can see there's plenty of bullshit that is being sold to people, but doesn't make them healthy. Just makes them fucking morons. Chasing that thing that they don't understand, that is health. But what is health, right? You might not even be able to define it properly. So ability to stay calm is pretty healthy. That's the thing that doctors look into and they sort of understand because they have to hold on to that one thing they understand. What is healthy human being? It's ability to be calm, right? And anything that is above calm levels, that is questionable, then you have to be reasonable, right? If you're creating noise and you're being unreasonable, that's pretty fucked up, right? Now you have to be questioned. Now you have to be pulled into losing all your privacy, all your nice things. You have to lose that until you come up with reasons or stop doing bullshit. Being calm is a pretty big deal. And it keeps other people healthy because there's a thing called noise pollution, which is pretty big deal to deal with. Alright? Something that also I have to deal with alongside with the doctor. The noise pollution. Very difficult problems. Impossible to solve. The best way to solve it, of course, is to change my location. How do you change location? I don't know. It has to be very, very good location. The fucking shuts everything down. You won't find it that easily, bro. Finding a location to go to? Fuck that. I still have to take care of my mom. I don't want to leave her without at least ability to survive. That would be nice. If she had one. So I'm like torn apart into pieces. I'm trying to keep everything together as well. In Europe, you're going to be crushed, even as a community of people, because it is a community, as communism-driven ideology to have a strict language barrier, you know. But then you rely on each other, like every single person has ability to contribute and should be able to contribute easily. If you're ignoring or rejecting other people, I'm sorry, bro. You're just removing progress. You're just being an asshole to a whole community. I'm trying to provide something, bro. But it's very difficult to open these people's eyes. You know, I'm no longer their level. I understand what the problem is and how you have to live in this region if you want to survive. Otherwise, you're just going to be washed away by the purge. Chaos is going to come down and you're just going to participate in it as if you like it and want it. But that's just not the way to deal with death itself, right? Not to participate. I've seen it before, like, children came to a store and it's like, oh, we can loot the store. We can just grab this box of, like, candy and stuff, and it's like, wow, cool. So we did that. And we participated. We're children, but if adults would do that, viciously just rip things apart, just... Like, right now, I've heard a story of, like, a store sold potatoes 10 times cheaper, and everyone's desperate to get cheap potatoes, so some, you know, couple of families, like 100 families, bought 100 bags, just basically looted the store without care in the world for anyone else. You know, that's the purge. You see a good price and you buy everything because it's yours. It's all about you. Fuck that shit, you know. Now you cannot reduce the price anymore because people are gonna be viciously fucking eating shit off the store, off the shelves, you know. Now the stores are gonna be empty. You know, deflation. You want that shit? To open people's fucking, you know, appetite for cheap food that they can just harvest. Luckily, you know, nobody fucking buys vegetables and fruits. No one can handle the amount that there is of those items. I don't see empty shelves anywhere so far. I just saw a store close, so that's fine. I can deal with that. But it's a big deal. A store closing, like, that's annoying. I haven't double checked if it was very temporary, but we'll see. So yeah, the most unhealthy thing is to not be able to be calm. Is to not be able to just, like, position yourself and it's like, this is what I want to do right now. No one's going to disturb me. And if someone disturbs me, they have to be reasonable about it. Or we're gonna have our fights. We have to fucking battle for this position then. Fuck yeah. I'm just gonna throw out there, but the biggest distraction you can eliminate is washing hands as often as you feel like you need to. I probably need to wash my hands really fucking often because I touch myself so fucking much. Mostly my face. But The rest of the body, too. No place is untouched besides legs, bro. Again, even the toe is not safe from me touching it, basically. So, I gotta probably fucking wash away because it turns into chaos if you touch too many things, bro. It's almost like moving the vibes around way too much. And it's best to just allow yourself to stay calm and clean at the same time. But this is a little bit different. This is more like solving a problem. This is not stretching and breathing. It's almost a different territory. It's more like fiery territory. And you can feel like the hands represent more fire than wind. So we're not gonna touch that, right? Can't touch that. But sometimes to increase your focus, you have to clean shit off, right? Sometimes you have to combine these two things together. And clean yourself, or a piece of yourself, that you need to use very often. You have to reset. If you feel like you're too angry and, again, too crushed, this is going to be very helpful. Breathing is going to be very helpful to elevate your anger and reduce it to the point where it's, you know, it's mild anger, it's mild irritation about something that could be turned into motivation, right? But if anger is uncontrollable and can potentially turn into rage because you don't know how you feel, that's a pretty good indication that something's going wrong and you need more oxygen to calm down, to slow things down as well, and to not worry that much, because if you heal yourself, you will live longer. There's no rush going on. The only rush that's going on is called fucking rent. You know, no matter how much you slow down time, you will still have to pay that much fucking rent as they ask you to. So that's a fucking rat race for sure. Even though no work is being done, like your house does not breathe, you are breathing. You're not destroying your house either. It's gonna stay there. So rent is absolute bullshit that needs to be talked about. But in terms of if you establish yourself and you have free time, you have to focus on not getting too angry, because you might not actually have solutions to the problems you think are problems, right? You can't focus on it too much. I overthink quite a bit, and it sometimes puts me into like emotional problem. What you have to do is erase your mind to the point where shit, whatever happens, just let it happen. Whatever boogeyman you feel that's gonna happen as a consequence of like adding negative emotion, just let it fucking happen, let it pass through. And hopefully it's just a boogeyman that does in fact pass through and fades out over time. See, one of the most powerful mindsets in general is that a lot of problems can just go away over time. They can just go away. If you just wait for long enough, the problem will go away. Just like this ingrown nail. So that's another thing. It's stretching time itself. It's stretching patience or having patience. But let's call it stretching time. Waiting for things to go away. Or for things to be solvable all of a sudden because people have realized or invented something or came together. Because they had to, you know. Just give some time to those problems, let them go, and focus on things that you can actually change right now. You can improve about yourself right now. What video are you going to watch next, huh? I believe Europeans have to do stretching and breathing as often as possible. You know, anytime you find free space, free time, use it for stretching and breathing, for fuck's sake. That's going to be very helpful. Americans, on the other hand, have to do it a little bit differently. Only when nighttime comes, you have enough free time and you have finished your day, you have done all those things, all those social things that you don't want to really forget, and you slowly kind of, in case you have insomnia or something bothers you, you meditate on that. You have to sit and fucking breathe about it and let it pass through of like, yeah, whatever. Think of what you want in your dreams, maybe. I don't know, bro. What you want for the next day. You calmly, set things up and forget all the bad things that give you anxiety. You definitely breathe about those fucking things. But it's completely different for Americans, unfortunately, because they're more social. And social means you will go outside more, you will stretch more just by default, you will exhaust more energy, you will be challenged by other people. Sometimes you just consume a big pizza and you will stretch your belly and like, shit. Obviously, if you're collapsing and you're becoming isolated, now you have to think like a European more than American. But if you're social, you don't actually have to worry about your health because people are constantly fucking pushing you around to make sure that you get that just enough movement, just enough of this material to keep you healthy as well. So that's it. Just don't forget to smile. That one. Just know how to smile. Not because you want to look fucking cute. You just don't want your teeth to crush into each other. That's how we fucking talk, alright? You definitely don't need that in your life. Or rather, you need to avoid that. You need. As everyone knows. And it's not just cleaning. It's fucking smiling. It's stretching things that are weak, finding the weak spots in your body as well, to make sure you can always respond as a normal human being, and that's the most scariest thing for anyone. If you can respond as a normal human being, you can pick up a fucking machine gun and kill a dragon. No matter what the problem is, you can deal with it as long as you're normal, as long as you have no weaknesses. So you must stretch out all the weaknesses, make sure that everything heals up, but you have to find it and stretch it. It's the only fucking way you can survive by not getting into a downfall of like, oh, I stubbed my toe and now I'm really hurt and I can't walk anymore because my legs hurt and stuff. No, you gotta stretch that shit out. You have to be always ready. If survival is a big question mark, you have to always be ready, to do just that. Another thing I can say is like, tough times make for good bonds. That's fair to say. That's what communism is all about, bro, creating big bonds. So when you're purging, at least make friends. If you're participating and you're purging about something, please make friends. I would make friends, If anyone hates doctors as much as I do, let's fucking go, bro. I want to make friends right now. But I also, an internet developer. I want to make a good card game. I hate card games the way they exist right now. I can do better, And maybe I can crush it so well that it's going to feel like Minecraft. It's going to feel like the best game ever, bro. Like, there's a chance for anything to happen. But I can't do it without a proper health. Everyone needs health. It's a pretty fucking high priority, I'm not gonna lie. Just sometimes you don't put it as a high priority because you get health from doing healthy things that you normally want to do. But sometimes you have to prioritize health when things are falling apart, or you can just generally improve your health significantly. That's a pretty good indication that you should focus on this thing. And hopefully I helped. I'm pretty sure we're approaching the end of this video. Funny thing about stretching is that it's the best form of exercise, and it can stretch in different ways. And you will learn how to exercise by just learning how to stretch. You don't have to be told exactly how to fucking position your body. You're just stretching everything. Everything. On your own terms. Because you might have fucking 3 arms or something, or 3 eyeballs. I don't know how your body functions, bro. But stretching is the same for everyone. Everyone can figure out what it is. And you can put decent amount of pressure, and that's when you're actually doing exercise at the same time. I will say what's likely to happen after all of this is done. You gotta go to sleep, you gotta fucking fall into your bed. Because you stretched your weaknesses, now your body wants to heal. That's it. The end. If you grow up to be an adult, you know there's no space for negativity, there's no space for distractions. You have to be the best version you can be. And the moment you understand what health is, you're old enough to hang on to this concept, to create a platform for yourself that you can, climb onto, stretch yourself, feel comfortable, and you can start working. You can start doing real good things in the world with your work. Whatever you feel that you need, the world needs from you. How can you contribute? You don't necessarily have to be paid for it. You just have to see the exchange, the successful exchange between you and the world. And that's the good thing that you can do. If you're not calm, you're not going to make much progress. You're not going to achieve that level. And you're not going to have confidence to stand up for yourself and prove that this is what the world needs from you. Prove that you are needed, that you are important. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I was important. Bye-bye.